Hello, welcome to the University of Law. In today's video, I'm very proud to be unboxing and reviewing for you Doctor Who Planet Krynoid Nightfall. I'm sorry it's taken me a while to get round to this. It actually arrived. It was dispatched the day before it actually came out, and then it was then received the day after. So it took 2 days to arrive. So I think it was like the Tuesday it was dispatched. Wednesday it came out. I heard it on the app. And then on Thursday it arrived in the post, which is taking me till now to get around to the unboxing. The big draw of this box set is it's a spin-off. It's from the world of Doctor Who about the Krynoids. They are 50 years old this year, as are the Zygons from that classic Hinchcliffe season 13. And yeah, we're looking at a few of these great creations, these great monsters. The Krynoids, interestingly, only ever appeared in that one TV story. And since then, they've made themselves known. I think there was a Next Doctor one, Hot House, I believe, in the third Lucy Miller series. They've never come back to television. And I guess they're hard to do on audio just because of the nature of them being vegetables and they don't speak. But I was intrigued by this set, especially because they got Reece Shearsmith in, who I recently saw live on stage in Stage Fright, the Inside Number 9 performance, which was very, very good. I'd recommend that. I believe they're going on tour now, so I'd definitely recommend, if you can get to it, to go and see that. If you're a fan of the show, it really is a fantastic classic Inside Number 9 story, but really works to the stage format. But I digress. This is a Planet Krynoid review. So when I first saw this release, there was a few things I had in mind because I wasn't sure what to expect, really. First of all, I thought it was going to be very, very dark. First of all, because it's a spin-off. It's got Reece Shearsmith in, and it's about the Krynoids. And I thought, okay, this is going to be quite a dark set. And I wasn't quite sure how the Eighth Doctor was going to fit in. And I thought that it would probably be a very quick cameo. I know he has a very brief cameo in the Master set last year with the Axons, which is similar because the Krynoids are the Axon costumes but dyed green. And I thought, well, maybe it would be a similar appearance. Looking at the set, I thought, well, maybe he's going to be a Krynoid. It's not really the Doctor. I thought maybe it's going to be a bit like his appearances in the Paternoster Gang stuff, where it's kind of just a cameo. And I thought maybe this is going to be a set of 3 very dark stories about the Krynoids. And from what they were saying, he was in episode 2, and I thought maybe episode 2 will be a Doctor story, but he'll be in it not very much. And it will just be a bit of a cameo. And I thought that he wouldn't encounter Reece Shearsmith. Well, I was wrong on every front. This is a 3-hour epic. It's one long story. And it does get dark at the end, but actually it's the one episode that Reece Shearsmith isn't in that gets really quite disturbing. And obviously, as I said, I expected him to have that episode because stuff that he's done, like Inside Number 9 and his previous work, has that kind of macabre feel to it. And I assumed that he'd be in that episode, but he's not actually. He's in the more, I wouldn't say light-hearted, but the more classic Doctor Who episodes. So the other thing was, Paul McGann is in this an awful lot. This is not a cameo. He's a very predominant character. He pretty much leads that second episode. So what's really clever about this, as I said, I'll keep it spoiler-free, but I'll talk about what's really clever about this set is it's a 3-hour story in 3-hour-long episodes. First of all, it's 3 different writers, but there's a clear vision to it. To confirm, yes, so I think it's Jonathan S. Powell. Was very much it's very much his brainchild, and essentially got Jonathan Morris and Chris Chapman to kind of support him in the writing of this set, but he kind of had the overarching plot. So it's very consistent. It's a consistent story. All the characters are clearly very well defined, and everything's been carefully planned and thought through and spoken through in the writers' room before they've all gone off and written their scripts. It's a very strong cast of characters. They're all very well written, very, very three-dimensional, and of course the actors all give superb performances as well. What's clever about this is, for the first 2 episodes, it's a Doctor Who story. So Doctor Who can go dark, it can go scary, but there is a line, a Doctor Who line, which it doesn't cross. So it can be scary, it can be dark, but you're also within the realms of the Doctor is there and it's going to be okay. And that's the way it is for the first 2 episodes. It's pretty much a Doctor Who story. Episode 1 is without the Doctor, but the Doctor then appears at the very end and leads into episode 2, which is very much a Doctor Who story. He sweeps in, he's leading the day, he's leading the charge, everything's going to be okay. As terms of where he fits in, I assumed, like, there's been a lot of stuff at the moment with the Eighth Doctor, and where I've assumed it's taking place between the first and second volumes of Dark Eyes, because between Dark Eyes 1 and Dark Eyes 2, the Eighth Doctor is clearly travelling on his own, and so stuff like the Paternoster Gang, it makes sense to fit it during that stop. Some of the classic Doctor New Monsters stories, it makes sense for them to fit during that gap. And I assumed that this would be the same based on the costume, etc. But actually, I wasn't far wrong, actually. This is set between Dark Eyes 4 and Doom Coalition 1, because Doctor is travelling with Liv Schenker only. I won't go into spoiler territory, but they very much use that point in the timeline as a vehicle for why the Eighth Doctor has to leave early. There's a reason why, and it plays with there's some lovely moments of playing with the idea of fate, because obviously we know that everything's going to be, Kenny's going to travel with Liv for a long time to come, and then with Helen, etc. But he doesn't know that, and it kind of plays with the audience's knowledge, because obviously he's in a panic about something that we know is going to turn out okay. But basically, episode 2 ends with him setting up what he believes is the resolution to the story, and then he then gets into his TARDIS to go and rescue Liv. Okay. Now, at that point, Reese Smith's character, they do have an encounter together. They have a really strong scene together, which plays really, really well. It's a really powerful scene. Kind of really gets at the Doctor and the nature of the Doctor, and then it kind of goes. It sets up this theme of what happens when the Doctor is gone, because we hear about this a lot, don't we? You know, the universe without the Doctor, and what could that be like? A little bit like with Rogue One being, what's the Star Wars galaxy like without the Jedi? Well, things like Boomtown talks about the consequences of the Doctor's actions and what he leaves behind. Well, in this, we really see it in the most harrowing way ever. He thinks he's set the cast on the path to victory against the Krynoid. What actually happens is they usher in something even more terrifying. And episode 3, the Doctor is gone, and our whole planet is left in a very vulnerable position. And I won't say any more because I don't want to give spoilers, but it's absolutely terrifying. And the way that they do it, very similar to the Quintessence, they do it by looking at innocent people, innocent families, and it really hits home, and it disturbs you, because this isn't a far off planet. This is, you're thinking about your own family, you know, the people in your life, and how, because the Doctor isn't in our real world, and actually, if this happened to us, this would be the reality. If the Krynoids invaded our world now, this would be the reality, because there is no Doctor to rescue you. So it's handled so well, and it's a very dark, very disturbing part. So episodes 1 and 2, very Doctor Who. Last one, very not Doctor Who, and I think that's what makes it work. I was expecting it to be 3 episodes that weren't really Doctor Who. I was expecting this box set not to be a comfort blanket. And actually, I think had it been 3 hours of that, I'm not sure it could have sustained it. I think it would have been too much. By having 2 episodes of Doctor Who to lull you into that sense of false security, it made that final punch hit even harder, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Now, they talk about doing another volume. Not quite sure how that would work next time, because you can't really pull the same trick twice. I'm certainly interested to see what they do with a second set. There's certainly some compelling characters. I also love the fact that they've set this. They've also thought about where they're setting, because they've set it right in the middle of the Dalek Wars that are kind of established in the John Pertwee era. So there's lots of references to that in the kind of 2520s. I really like those little Easter eggs for those fans who follow the show and the lore. That was a really nice callback. But in particular, what was really interesting was the fact that the Doctor has been, and there's a bit of spoilers here, the Doctor, when they find him at the end of episode 1, has been stuck on the planet for about 100 years. and I'd love to do a prequel next time maybe. So rather than a sequel to this, a prequel, what happens with the Eighth Doctor going back 100 years ago and when the Krynoids first arrived. I think that would be a really interesting follow-up Krynoid set. It would kind of follow from this because spoilers, he has to go back. So this kind of almost takes place within his adventure 100 years ago. So I think that would be quite an exciting thing to do. So yeah, I really enjoyed this set. And now let's get unboxing it. We've got Eighth Doctor with the Krynoid growth on him, which is how they find him at the end of episode 1. So this isn't just a gimmick. This is how they find this as a visual. This here, you can see we've got our pilots. There's a great CGI recreation of one of the opening scenes on the Big Finish website as a part of the trailer, and that kind of has this scene animated. It was great to kind of see some visuals for the story. Obviously, we've got Reese with a great drawing point, great actor to draw in the wider audience, and here he is on the spine as well. As I said, 3 really great writers on this set. As I said, we've got Jonathan S. Powell, who's the kind of mastermind behind the set. Then Johnny Morris writes the opening story. Obviously, he's no stranger to the Krynoids, having written for them in 2007 or 8, I believe, with Hot House. And then Chris Chapman, who's obviously well known from his collection set work and has done some great scripts, especially with the 6th Doctor, I have to say. A Big Finish. And then here we have episode 1. That's interesting. Some other Worlds of Doctor Who releases there. I think this font is reminiscent of the 11th Doctor era font. Booklet. We have got cast list, there we have got episode 2, and we have got episode 3, the finale. And then here we go, we've got the Fugitive Doctor, we've got Zygon, the Zygon set from this year, yeah, because they're also 50, Paste on Us to Gang, Call Me Master. So there we go, some other Worlds of Doctor Who releases as well. So what do you think? Did you listen to this set? What did you think of it? What would you like to see them do next time in terms of the Krynoids? Or is there another monster that's coming up to a big anniversary that you'd like to see also brought back for their own spin-off, like we've had with the Zygons and the Centaurans last year, and now the Krynoids? Do let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Look forward to speaking to you soon.